Hello everyone, and thank you for stopping by again. Appreciate it. My name is Loni Ison. I'm a licensed marriage, family, and child therapist. I've been a clinician for about 30 years. The conversations that we've been having during this little bit of a series that I've been doing is conversations from the heart. And as I have mentioned in the past, the work of the heart is not necessarily the muscle heart, but the emotional heart. And I would like to talk today about some of my own sorrow, because I think that that is how we can learn from one another, and I think it's something that we can help benefit one another. And there's something beautiful in sharing our stories. And I've learned that so much from Uncle Nick and Uncle Indio, my two wonderful teachers that have really shaped this therapist and have shaped how I do my work and how I see the world. And I'd like to just start off with acknowledging their invaluable input into my life, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for their families who have given me permission to actually speak about some of their teachings and trainings that I've had throughout the course of my experience with them for the past 20 years. So I'd like to talk about last week I talked about when sorrow walked with me. And so I'm going to share with you some of my own experiences with sorrow and what an amazing teacher she has been for me. So about 2009, I believe 2008 or 2009, my husband of 25 years, who he and I had been divorced for 2 years, he was killed tragically in a bicycle accident. And the sorrow that came about for me during that season of my life was watching my daughter suffer, which was awful, losing her dad, and then also all of the many complications that came with it as far as unfinished business. And so after he died, there was a lot of unfinished business in our marriage that I never was able to really heal completely. And so, one would think that when a person dies, that it's over. And to be quite honest, it was really the beginning for me, where I really began to set my intentions to heal the unfinished business that we had between one another. And it was amazing because in the form, he was gone, but there was such an opportunity during that season to really be able to communicate with him in different realms and actually heal a lot of our unresolved pain. And actually, when he was dying, I was at the hospital, and I had laid my hands on him as they were getting ready to basically unplug him from life support. And when I was there and I went to lay my hands on him, a rush came over me of the 25 years of marriage that we had. And it wasn't about blame. It was about myself and the places of my own wounding that I hung on to for all kinds of reasons, but I can tell you they were all ego. And it was an eye-opener for me, and that was the beginning of my healing. And Nick would always tell me, give yourself a year, go through all the seasons, and experience the loss, of which I did. And then when the year was up, I had ceremony, said goodbye, and let it go. So, I wanted to say about sorrow that if we set our intentions to heal it and learn from it, we can. So after that significant loss happened, there was about another year and a half, 2 years that a large part of my world was again on the upset. And that was when my mom was dying, and I'm an only child, no sibs, no dad in the home, so it was just her and I. So we had a very unique relationship and a very strong bond, push and pull at times, but nonetheless, in the latter years of her life, a lot of those old hurts and wounds dropped by the wayside, and we were able to really heal while she was still alive, which was wonderful, something that Paul and I were not able to do when he was alive. So as my mom was dying and a lot of other things were going on in my life at the time, it was during the Great Recession, lost a house, lots of things that were showing up in my life, and I was letting go. I was constantly letting go, and I had a spiritual teacher that she told me, she said, Loni, just let it go, let it go, let it go, because the universe is asking this of you right now, so just release it and let it go. And again, one of Nick's amazing teachings was, you know, you can go through life like this, or you can go through life like that. So with Uncle Nick and Uncle India's guidance, I worked at letting go. And so there was all of this sorrow that was surrounding me, and yet I knew it was necessary losses. I knew that this was the season of my life, and it was time for me to do a deeper dive within myself and again look at some of those places inside my own heart that I was harboring on to more immature sort of ideals, if you will. So it was during that time that I was pretty broken. There wasn't a lot of me left, and I actually had gone, it was about 6 months, I think, after my mom had died, and I was pretty broken. And I went up to Esalen to go attend to a workshop up there, and I had no idea what it was. I had no idea who the speaker was. It was just one of those divine experiences. And when I went, my spiritual mentor up there, his name is Rick, and it was a 3-day workshop. And one of my takeaways from that workshop was a healed vision of sorrow is compassion. I'm going to repeat that. A healed vision of sorrow is compassion. So there was a lot of sorrow, you know, loss of relationships, loss of real estate, loss of my mom, all on the heels of watching my daughter go through such intense suffering, watching her experience the suffering of her dad's death, and then unfinished business that he and I had. So I began to really do some meditation around a healed vision of sorrow is compassion. And that really is speaking to not just sitting in the sorrow, but allowing it to do its magic. Allow it to break open that heart space so that you can use that and send it out into the world. And when I came back from Esalen, it was probably maybe 3 months, and I received a phone call from San Diego Hospice inviting me to come on board, which was amazing. I'd never worked at a hospice. I really knew very little bit about it. Unfortunately, in grad school, they don't teach a lot about grief and loss, which is unfortunate. But I went to work at hospice, and for 2 amazing years, really was able to manifest the art of manifestation. The healed vision of sorrow became compassion. Compassion for the dying, compassion to my interns who were sitting with the dying and their families, compassion for the families and the children. I was able to really have that heart space really manifest the abundance of my experience of loss. And so that was an amazing teacher for me, because it took the sorrow and moved it out into the world, sort of like that mustard seed. It was a small little grain, but you think about what it turns into. So I wanted to share that with you today. I wanted to be transparent, because here I can sit and I can talk about suffering, but I oftentimes don't think it's really authentic unless I share with you my own. So thank you for stopping by, and we'll continue these conversations. And I think probably my next video, I'm going to ask my lifelong friend and companion, now husband, Jack, to join us, and we will continue to talk about the benefits of allowing sorrow to break open the heart. Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.